1 in 100 people. This is roughly how common psychopathy is in the world. The statistics show that you know a psychopath. Not someone from TV, but someone you've met in real life. Someone from school, the cashier you often see at your local shop, or even perhaps someone you meet on holiday. Chances are there's even a few of them watching this video right now. Hi. Psychopathy is often portrayed in movies and TV, and it's normally fairly interesting for the average viewer, delving into a mindset that the majority of people find unfathomable. Speak No Evil is a movie released in 2024, directed by James Atkins. A couple struggling romantically, Ben and Louise Dalton, meet another couple on holiday in Italy, Paddy and Kira. After being invited to Paddy and Kira's home, Ben and Louise are drastically tested on their tolerance for what is right when they slowly see the way Paddy and Kira treat their son Ant, and also how they behave as a couple in general, really pushing the boundaries of social norms and testing to see when enough is enough. Plenty of the scenes in this movie are uncomfortable and really get the audience thinking how long they could last in a situation like this. The main focal point of the movie is Paddy, played by the fantastic James Mcavoy. He delivers a performance that perfectly embodies the chilling behaviour of a psychopath. We'll explore how Mcavoy captures the traits of a psychopath, his manipulativeness, lack of empathy, and the way he disarms those around him. How is he able to keep up such a facade? The main 5 things we understand to be a psychopath's main life goals are power and control, personal gain, thrill-seeking, validation and recognition, and emotional manipulation. The biggest thing we notice in Paddy is his charm, joking manner, and general happiness. This main factor falls into all 5 of these goals. Paddy seeks a position of authority and power. He wants Ben to know that he is the alpha male in this environment, physically pushing the boundaries of what's acceptable with his partner. Like a massage or nodding to the fact that Louise has a good body, or even using information once told to him in confidence as a way to create conflict between Ben and his partner. Like bringing up Louise sexting another man. Even with his own family, it's very clear that Paddy is in complete control. As we can see, Ant can't even step a foot out of line without his father bashing into him. This Cotton Eye Joe scene was a perfect example of Paddy adopting his father's abusive traits. James Watkins' script addresses how familial cycles of abuse form, explicitly referencing Paddy's trauma at the hands of his father. This repeats through his own violent behaviour towards his son. We're only given this one line throughout the whole movie about Paddy specifically talking about his father.
Listen, my dad always used to say you have to work really hard at life, otherwise you will amount to nothing.
But we are given an insight into Paddy's upbringing in this scene in the private restaurant. He opens up about how parents fuck you up, and your traits are often passed down from them. Paddy then says a brilliantly crafted line.
Get out as early as you can, then don't have any kids yourself.
Louise makes a slightly uncomfortable face as it seems like Paddy is basically saying to them they made a mistake by having their child and to perhaps not have any more.
Hey, enough! Hey!
But if we flip this around, Paddy could be talking about himself to not have any kids because his child would end up getting messed up too. As we find out later in the film, Ant isn't Paddy's son. Did Paddy slip up here? Did he say it deliberately just to toy with them more? Which way did Louise actually take this? There's even another meaning to the line in the fact that Paddy is literally telling them to their face that they should have gotten out as early as they could. So many layers to just this one line, which makes it truly remarkable script writing. Paddy wants to have all these lovely things. A nice cottage farmland away from everything. Homemade cider and luxury food. He believes that material things are extremely important and need to be shown off. He wants to achieve these things by any means necessary, even if that means going to extreme lengths to get them. Paddy pushes this example to the max when he finally decides to commit with this plan he had all along. He holds them hostage as he gets Louise to transfer all their money to him. This is a perfect leeway to the next section, which is all about this is Paddy's forte when it comes to being a true psychopath. Whether it be more minor thrills like the use of illegal drugs, driving erratically, or something simple like cliff diving. These excite him for sure, but then you get into the more messed up stuff like the constant toying with the Daltons. This is a part that some viewers would have perhaps found confusing. Why didn't Paddy just take their money and kill them right at the beginning when they first came to their house?
Oh man, not my house!
Which is a valid point, but an important factor about psychopaths is that they enjoy inducing fear. The chef of the restaurant, which we later see is in on the plan with Paddy and Kira, makes a comment about Paddy being like his mum's cat.
Why do you do this? Play with your food. You're like my mum's cat.
Paddy also earlier on in the movie states that he enjoys the hunt. In this circumstance, he was talking about hunting animals, but clearly his favourite animal is Americans. Of course, the biggest thrill-seeking Paddy does is the actual intended killing of the Daltons, including a young child, which, as we know, hasn't stopped them in the past.
It's alright, it's alright. It's just veterinary kettling.
They have been accustomed to this same plan of bringing in families and murdering them, as well as cutting out the tongue of Ant so he can't speak up on any of this. I'm not quite so sure how they really could get away with any of these murders. Paddy and Kira live far away from anything else as we see at the beginning of the movie, so if the police do any sort of license plate or CCTV tracking, they surely could have found that all these families were coming out here. There wouldn't be too many suspects for the police to investigate, surely. Paddy wants validation and he wants recognition. As said before, he wants people to be impressed with the things he has. But what about Kira? Psychopaths tend to struggle forming meaningful relationships as stronger emotions like love are harder to grasp. That's not to say he doesn't value Kira. It's clear that as toxic as it may seem, they seem to be made for each other. Whether that's a bit of Stockholm Syndrome on Kira's part, or if she is just equally as mental as him and they enjoy what they do together. Who knows, perhaps Paddy enjoys more of what Kira offers to him for his own use. Rather than actually having that much love or connection with her, he's happy to insult her and shout at her and even go as far as physically assaulting her. It's hard to tell if Kira is actually genuine or not when she begs for them to take her with them and get her away from Paddy. Is she putting on her own manipulation act here, or is she trying to take her chance to get away now? I would say she is a psychopath herself because she's going along with all of these murders which no sane person can do. But they put some doubt in the viewer's mind when, on the roof, she hesitates when she's about to take a shot at them. Mcavoy is really amazing at showing displays of emotional manipulation. He knows that Ben and Louise aspire to be more like him and Kira. Ben wants to be able to hunt, make a fire, and act a bit more boisterous, which is so different to how he currently is living his life. Kira and Paddy are seemingly deeply in love, till death do they part.
Ha!
Side note, this scene is probably the most chilling thing I've ever seen in a movie or show. It's so satisfying because of all the trauma Ant has had to deal with and he's finally getting his revenge. Yet it's so disturbing and uncomfortable the fact a child has this much pent up anger to let out. The thought of an adult doing something like this is sad, but a child? That's just downright depressing. And credit to Dan Huff, who played Ant. Just an absolutely brilliant performance throughout the whole movie, but specifically this scene, he is just incredible, and you have to remember this kid's name because he's definitely going places. Also, props to Ben and Louise for letting their daughter Agnes just watch this, just scarring her for life. Louise envies Paddy and Kira's love and makes that clear to everyone, even if it's inappropriate.
Every day. Oh my God, Ben's lucky if he gets it once a month.
What? Louise seems to have lost her love for Ben. She wouldn't have sexted with another guy if she didn't feel this way at least a little bit, and she looks to Kira and Paddy and their endless energy and their gazes they share of each other, and she thinks, has her time been wasted with Ben? Emotional manipulation also includes making people feel uncertain or perhaps uneasy around you at times. This becomes more apparent the longer the movie goes on, but it can be apparent in many scenes like when Paddy holds his stare a little too long on Ben whilst he's singing to him in the car.
Is this burning an eternal flame?
It can be small remarks that are put in so nonchalantly that some people may miss them, like how Paddy apologises only to Ben when Louise pointed out she was a vegetarian after eating that goose he had fed to her.
Mate, I feel like such an idiot. I'm so sorry.
It was okay, yeah.
Or of course some are glaringly obvious, like how comfortably rough he is with his son in front of his guests. For psychopaths, emotional manipulation is about power and control rather than genuine connection. They exploit empathy and emotional sensitivity in others to achieve their own goals. When you have all these points and mash them up into one character, you get Paddy. The more I read into psychopaths and the way they behave, the more I'm impressed with Mcavoy's performance. Every single aspect of a psychopath is executed well in this movie. Even such small details are taken on board by Mcavoy, and you can see he's really embodied this role in every detail possible. Mcavoy is an extremely gifted actor, especially when it comes to playing the crazy role. The fact he can so quickly make his facial expressions turn from acting how he believes people want him to his true feelings is something many actors wish for. You have to be a very talented actor to portray these slight moments of your sanity mask slipping. Another talented actor, Christian Bale, does this too in my favourite movie, American Psycho, where he plays the psychopath Patrick Bateman.
No, Helen. Is that a raincoat? Yes, it is.
I always remember this one moment when he takes some of his Valium or Xanax and looks at himself in the mirror for a brief moment as he blinks and ever so slightly twitches. These slight facial expressions and displays of emotion by a character that struggles so much with emotion are cinema gold. Twitches in general are undervalued in movies, but intense facial expressions overall are generally overlooked when analysing characters in cinema itself. Mcavoy separates himself from other actors as one of the greats because he's so good at doing this. There were plenty of moments when watching this movie where I was like, oh yeah, this guy is good. He really takes the character he's given and deeply analyses those behaviours and expressions and puts his all into those performances, and it doesn't go unnoticed. I don't think it's a wild statement to say he should be Oscar nominated for this performance, but it's unlikely as horror is generally overlooked for that award. So this movie gets 5 stars from me, and I think it's probably going to be an underrated one for the future. I think it was given a sour tone in people's mouths when they saw how many trailers were put out for this one. This one just stuck with me a lot. I think it's a very good movie, and I think the original might be seen as a better movie by a lot of people, but I haven't watched that one yet, and I wanted to remove it from this whole analysis. I wanted it to be seen as its own movie and Paddy to be seen as his own character and not portrayed by any other character prior. So if you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend. Be sure to check out my letterbox in the description where you can see what movies I've been watching recently if you're really interested in that. And on that, we conclude the analysis and the video. James McAvoy deserves an Oscar, and I'm gonna die on that hill. Have a good day. See ya.